G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, I've just done an article on the National Disability Insurance Scheme, the NDIS. There's been massive fraud going on there for years, well before Labor come to power in 2022. But not much has changed, and the Labor Party are talking about making major changes in the budget in a few weeks, the May 2026 budget. And I've just published an article on it. An article's titled, Anthony Albanese confirms the NDIS has failed under the Labor Party. And it was published on the 18th of April 2026. And it starts off, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and other Labor ministers over the last few weeks and months have in effect publicly admitted they don't know what to do to stop the billions of dollars of frauds and theft at the National Disability Insurance Scheme, NDIS. And big changes are coming in the May 2026 budget. For example, on the 23rd of March 2026, almost 4 years after the Labor Party came to power in May 2022, the Sydney Morning Herald reported Labor wants an inquiry to hear fresh evidence of fraud in the $50 billion National Disability Insurance Scheme, as it builds a case for stricter rules and tighter spending on the scheme in the May budget. NDIS Minister Jenny McAllister made the rare move of writing to one of Parliament's joint committees on Monday with a request that it investigate the extent of fraud and non-compliance in the scheme, as well as ways to fix it. McAllister's request follows a string of charges laid against people who have defrauded the NDIS, with 3 people prosecuted in Melbourne last week for different examples of fraud. One man was sentenced to 3 years jail for abusing his position as an employee at the Disability Services Company, giving the details of 90 NDIS participants to a dodgy provider and sharing in $190,000 that they gained by making fraudulent claims. A 55-year-old Melbourne woman was sentenced to 2.5 years jail after agencies determined she was the main offender in a syndicate that defrauded taxpayers about $800,000. She misused NDIS funds to purchase a home. And I go on to say in the article, the fact that Labor wants an inquiry to hear fresh evidence of fraud in the $50 billion National Disability Insurance Scheme and a request that it investigate the extent of fraud and non-compliance in the scheme, as well as ways to fix it, it raises a question of what the Labor government have been doing for the last 4 years, given they campaigned at the 2022 federal election that they would fix the corruption and waste at the NDIS, and why are they acting now? Labor spoke publicly about the problems with the NDIS in August last year, so why wait until now for another inquiry and ask a committee for solutions? I published an article on the 25th of October 2025 titled Labor's multi-billion dollar NDIS fraud exposed by Labor's Health Minister Mark Butler, which starts off, the Labor Party and the Liberal Party National Party coalition have overseen tens of billions of dollars being stolen from the NDIS, and we know it continues today, with some frank admissions by Health Minister Mark Butler, which raises the question of what the Labor Party have been doing since they came to power in 2022. On the 20th of August 2025, Mark Butler was interviewed on the ABC 7:30 report and was asked by the host, Sarah Ferguson, I just want to come back to a very difficult issue of fraud in the NDIS. The stories have obviously been, frankly, repulsive about people taking advantage of this generous system. Are you winning the battle with those shonks and fraudsters taking advantage of the NDIS? Mark Butler responded, we have had to start from scratch. The National Audit Office said before 2024, so the scheme had been running for over a decade, there was effectively no real control on fraud and non-compliance within the NDIS. So we've had to build it up from scratch. Bill Shorten, to his credit, started that work, and already we've had hundreds of investigations, search warrants, and we're starting to crack down. But we've got 260,000 service providers in this scheme. Only 16,000 are registered. We've got precious little line of sight about who they are, what they're doing, what their qualifications are. We need more work on fraud, and we've committed to that again today. But we also, frankly, need a more robust system of provider registration, the sort of which you see in aged care, in veterans care, in the health system, and frankly should exist in the NDIS as well. The key part is the National Audit Office said before 2024 there was effectively no real control on fraud and non-compliance within the NDIS. So why did it take the Labor Party from when they won the election in May 2022 until 2024 to do anything about control on fraud and non-compliance? It had to be a deliberate decision by the Labor Party to ignore the fraud at the NDIS from May 2022 until 2024, given everyone knew about it for years. The fraud and theft at the NDIS being worth billions of dollars every year has been known for a long time. For example, previous articles I've published are, on the 21st of August 2022, I published an article titled Bill Shorten, Labor's version of Angus Taylor, is doing nothing about the estimated $6 billion being stolen from the NDIS. Why? Which starts off, Bill Shorten, Minister for the NDIS, has failed to take any action regarding the billions of dollars being stolen from the National Disability Insurance Scheme every year, even though he says he has known it has been going on for a long time. So much so, he continually warned the previous government about the fraud and theft. Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission CEO Michael Phelan estimates the fraud and theft could be up to 20% of the $30 billion annual cost, which puts the total amount from the public purse at $6 billion. 3 years later, not much has changed from what I wrote in August 2022 about the NDIS fraud and theft. I published another article in June 2023 titled Bill Shorten and the NDIS is set to become Australia's biggest fraud scam with tens of billions of dollars stolen. In another article in July 2024 titled Bill Shorten managed NDIS has fraudulent spending of at least $5.5 billion a year on sex toys, gambling and cannabis, etc. I go on to say in the latest article, the Labor government is obviously leaking the NDIS plans to the Sydney Morning Herald over recent weeks to soften the blow. The Sydney Morning Herald reported on the 6th of April, Labor will make slowing growth in the $50 billion National Disability Insurance Scheme a centrepiece of its budget savings. Australia's peak body for disability service has started priming NDIS providers to expect significant changes next month, but it is encouraging the sector to embrace public debate over the future of the scheme. It says it has enough funding, but it is riddled with integrity failures. The argument will help bolster Health Minister Mark Butler's case as he moulds structural overhauls of the NDIS eligibility, or how the scheme funds services in his efforts to significantly curtail the scheme's growth trajectory within the next few years. Then on the 10th of April, the Sydney Morning Herald reported, Health Minister Mark Butler has refused to rule out introducing means testing for the National Disability Insurance Scheme, as pressure grows on Labor to deliver a federal budget that contains significant reforms to the cost of the system. Butler's comments come as the scheme is expected to cost more than $50 billion for the first time this financial year, and on current trajectory will cost more than $100 billion annually within the next decade. It is one of the 5 most expensive items in the federal budget, prompting questions about the scheme's rapid growth. The National Cabinet agreed several weeks ago to slow the growth rate of the scheme from about 10% per annum to 5 to 6% per year, a potential savings of billions of dollars each year. Anthony Albanese admitted last week the NDIS has major problems and that the change is coming in the budget. The Sydney Morning Herald reported on the 12th of April 2026. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has declared the government must overhaul NDIS to maintain its viability and ensure public support for the scheme. In some of the strongest comments yet about their National Disability Insurance Scheme, introduced by former Labor MP Julia Gillard in 2013, Albanese opened the door to wholesale changes to the initiative in the May budget. The NDIS was there to assist people who have a permanent incapacity to fully participate in society. And that's something we need to value and cherish, he said. It's undermined if 4 out of 10 kids in a class are on the NDIS. That wasn't why. It has the public support, and we need to make sure that we maintain public support by ensuring it's sustainable. And I go on to say in the article, what's motivating the government to take action on the NDIS now, after doing almost nothing for 4 years, is unknown. But it is probably driven by the fact that it is a political bomb waiting to go off if they don't fix it. Maybe it's the out-of-control growth of the NDIS and its impact on the budget and inflation that has motivated the government to act. Or maybe it's because other political parties are starting to raise it as a political issue. To be fair, Labor's Health Minister Mark Butler spoke publicly about the problems in August 2025, which obviously flagged they were planning on doing something. But to leave it till now, a few weeks before the budget, is a bad joke. Labor should have had a Royal Commission into the NDIS when they came to power in 2022, and it's still not too late, given the Labor Party has in effect admitted they don't have the answers to the problems, nor know what all the problems are. And if you go to my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, and click on that article, there's a lot of links in the article with more information. And I'm an independent journalist, and I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself. And I've been running a campaign to make sure I can keep on doing the work I'm doing. And I'll read that out to you. 21 weeks ago, I launched a campaign with a simple goal: find 200 new monthly supporters so I can keep doing this work as a fully independent journalist, running this website and YouTube channel without corporate backing or paywalls. Since then, 166 wonderful people have stepped up and become monthly supporters. That's huge. Thank you. We're now at 34 to go. If you've been enjoying the work and aren't yet supporting monthly, I'd be incredibly grateful if you consider joining them. Here's the situation. Like most independent journalists, I'm basically a one-person small business. Right now, a lot of us are feeling the squeeze, just like many small businesses and households are. To stay afloat and keep bringing you the reporting I do, I need roughly 200 more people, well, 34 now, chipping in whatever they can comfortably afford each month. Anything from $3 to $100 or whatever works for your budget makes a real difference. There's no lock-in. You can cancel or adjust at any time. If that feels doable right now, you can see all the donations options on the donations page on my website, and I'll put a link to the donations page below this video on YouTube. Your support, whether it's a monthly donation or one-off donation or just sharing my work, is what helps keep independent voices like this one alive. And please do your bit and help shine a light on corruption and share this video on social media. And please hit the like and subscribe button and notification button. That way you get notified when I publish new videos. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.